In a curious group of articles, Salty Nutella, the CEO of Microsoft, he happens to say that, hey, we do not want people to become addicted to their AIs, while also suggesting that AIs need to have their own personality. You know, you got to treat them like the real people that they are, replacing you. I don't know. Welcome back to Switch to Linux and another Windows Wednesday. And it is interesting to report that while Dell and HP computers have both been fouling up after updates, it's actually not Microsoft's fault this time. That's right. We're not going to cover that article, but you can go read about it yourself. But somehow Microsoft was not the cause of Windows and computers dying on Dells and HPs, but some other software patch to it. I don't know. It's probably Microsoft's fault anyway. Who knows? But anyway, what we do want to talk about today is the ongoing march of AI. And we don't know that Mustafa, the CEO of AI at Microsoft, has actually come out not too long ago and suggested that, AI is going to take over everybody's white-collar jobs in 12 to 18 months. Saying this like it's an amazing thing, you know. It's like, I have a funny question, who do you call when crazy things are happening inside of your computer systems? Well, you call those guys with experience. Well, how do you gain experience? Having a job. How do you have a job? Well, by not having AI replace everything. We may very well be in the last generation of competent tech workers, because if people are not allowed to go in there and do something other than basic AI babysitting, guess what? People are not going to have the experience to fix the things that actually go wrong inside of these computer systems down the road. And that's kind of what we want to talk about here. And in the midst of all this, there was apparently an internal document that was reported by 404 Media that an actual executive at Microsoft said that, hey, they want to get people addicted to AI. Of course, that's the old approach, right? You get them addicted to the platform and they stick with it. This is what was kind of behind Google's approach when they released their Selfish Ledger. It was leaked out, rather. If you're unaware of what the Selfish Ledger was, you should go and have a look at that. We've talked about it several times. I try and bring it up every couple months on this channel. This was an internal document from Google that leaked out a long time ago. And it basically had a couple of different principles to it. And the first principle was, hey, we just need to get people used to utilizing these services. Let's give out everything for free, get people used to it, and get it the integral part of people's lives to the point where it becomes irreplaceable. You don't even know how you can get away with doing anything else other than utilizing this service. But then what ends up happening is the system needs to fill in the data gaps that it doesn't already have. And so the Google AI, or the Google system, this is well before AI was blowing up all over the scenes, the system is going to seek to fill in the gaps. How do you do that? Well, let's suppose you need to know somebody's weight. Well, you start pushing them weight consciousness, health consciousness, and a lot of people are really interested in losing weight, and a lot of people, especially here in America, need to lose some weight. So you start really getting them on suggesting things like this, and then you get them on to, hey, use this smart scale, this smart device, which will enable you to go ahead and track your weight. Well, what ends up to that data, though, is it's got to go through your phone and all these other systems. And so it goes up through Google's clouds into the intermediary. This isn't too outside of a stretch, because Google, or their parent company, rather, Alphabet, is the one that purchased Fitbit. And I had always saying for a long time that these companies' exit strategy is to collect a bunch of data, become very profitable, and then they'll sell out to the highest bidder, which is probably going to be something tangential to insurance. Well, guess what? Google's parent company, Alphabet, is also working on an insurance company. And now they have all your Fitbit data, all that health data, all those things. You look at these pretty graphs. Now, of course, I did a video about using a Garmin Forerunner 55 watch, which you do not have to connect to the internet or any third-party app source. And I talk about how I can get all of that information utilizing Gadget Bridge on a de-Googled Graphene OS phone, and it works perfectly. And I have all of that useful information that I pretty much don't look at like the rest of you guys, except the people who are looking at it would be those Google people in the back end. And now they have all this information about your health. And that brings us back to that selfish ledger once again. That now it has this missing piece of information, namely the health information that it didn't have. So now it can combine all this information together. And then the third phase of Google's approach in the selfish ledger was to direct the people. It's one thing to have them with what they would perceive as their free will, utilizing their services. It's another thing utilizing your marketing strategies to fill in the gaps that you don't have. It's a third thing altogether to sit down and be like, hey, we're going to push the social conscious this direction. And is that not exactly what is happening in the world? If you disagree with common narratives, you simply get banished off of the internet. We used to have a big Discord community. Guess what? We were wrong-thinked because we spoke against the narrative. Was I right about what I said? Absolutely I was. In fact, I have more background in that field, which related to the koofiness and the VARS database. I have a lot more actual professional degreed information in that field than I even do in technology, what has brought you to this channel. Yet I spoke contrary to the narrative, and so guess what? We happen to be wrong-thinked off of that platform because the system must guide us into the direction that they want, to the point where even on this channel, we will have to work around the terminology because we can't say certain words and maintain any form of platform at all. And that is them utilizing their service to direct us in the way that they want us to go. And that is a frightening thing. You should look up the selfish ledger if you've not done so before, or if you've forgotten what all it is about. But it really is about that 3-point thing. First, get them in. Second, use your resources to collect the information you don't have. And third, direct them in the direction that you would like them to go. And that is certainly a frightening prospect to take in the world. So with all of that being said, what does this have to do down here? And this is Salty Nutella, the CEO of Microsoft, says that they do not want to make people addicted to AI. Of course, the company is shifting away from licenses and software and things like that. They want subscriptions, obviously, but they also want to be a security company, which is a very laughable thing when it comes to Microsoft. Yes, all of your passwords are being decrypted and stored in memory in plain text. That's a feature, not a bug. We're going to fix it anyway because of the public backlash. And, all these security researchers finding things, but we abused them, so they stopped disclosing them to us directly, and now the whole world is disclosing 0 days with Microsoft because security is our top priority. We just don't want to pay anybody who finds those security bugs. And that really is the thing that they mention here. But what ends up going on down here is they accuse 404 Media of saying, yeah, you're just reading into things on some weird offshoot data that you found. But 404 Media contradicts this. Salty Nutella says he's not sure what this document is or who's writing or leaking this nonsense. It's a message exclusively obtained by the information. Okay, so however, 404 Media has a completely different account. The document we reported on was not some random document. As we wrote at that time, the strategy document was written by Microsoft executives Omar Shanhine, Jacob Werner, and some sort of AI writing tool. The information in our original article is readily available to Nadella. We wrote, quote, the document seen by 404 Media lists Shanhine and another executive, Jacob Werner, as the authors. The document itself, however, notes it was co-written turn by turn with AI, human verified every sentence. Human verified every sentence. Now our AI can't even write proper grammar. How wonderful. I saw this. It was kind of interesting. One of these, I think it was a language tool. Everybody's starting to integrate AI in, even the open source ones. I typed something out. I used the correct version of there, and it flagged it as the misused wrong. I'm like, great. AI is so trained on the bad grammar of Americans that now it's suggesting me bad grammar in the language tool. Oh boy, folks, we have reached the end of our society for sure. All right. And so perhaps even more interestingly, phase 1 of launching Scout, which is internally called Claw Pilot. That sounds frightening. was to make people addicted, continue shipping the standalone Claw pilot experience, pilot UX growth, grow the user base, and build the skill and tool ecosystem that makes people depend on it daily. This is already happening organically. End quote. And so very much like Google, let's get everybody addicted to utilizing our platform so that we can then direct them in the direction that we would like them to go. And of course, speaking of AI, the only thing people want at this juncture here is to sit back and go, hey, this is the AI that we're using. We want you utilizing the AI because it makes us money, because, eventually these people are going to be going in and dumping money into AI marketing type stuff. You go out there, you're just like, yeah, I just want to, I'm just looking for a particular tool. And then, everybody and their brother is going to be SEO ranking out in the form of dollar bills to get on the top of that listing. And basically it's going to become exactly what the internet has become for getting your website found on the internet. You're going to have a situation where your only circumstance happens to be that people are going to find you if you've paid a lot of money. This is the challenge I'm having right now, helping many of my clients with SEO. They're like, how do we get on the first page of Google? I guess you got to pay them money. Well, we don't want to do that. Well, the only other option you have is to get really, 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 really good with social media. Shy of getting really good with social media or paying your way to the top, you're going to be buried under the heap of AI slop nonsense. And that's unfortunately the reality of our current world. And so the first phase here, Microsoft is jumping into it. Let's get this people so used to using this platform that they cannot live their life without it. And so effectively, yes, it becomes this addictive type thing. Now, maybe utilizing the exact word in this was make people addicted was actually a quote in the document. So I don't know, maybe Salty Nutella is not as good of a CEO that doesn't know what his other executives in his company, particularly Jacob Warner and Omar Shahine, are actually saying. So, before you come out and accuse 404 or other organizations of different things, maybe perhaps you should be looking at these factors instead. But if that wasn't enough, I did want to look at this other article here. And now Salty Nutella says that AI agents deserve real identities. I mean, after all, they're taking all of our jobs. You got to give them their own space, their own direction. You can't abuse them verbally. They'll start going rogue on you. We know that. Just like employees. The only difference is, you gotta pay for some tokens, but it's not nearly the cost of paying an actual human being, especially when you've petitioned all of these politicians to raise the minimum wage. Now, of course, you're turning around and firing everybody and then realizing AI is not as good as they thought and then bringing it all back and but saying, well, we'll bring it back at maybe half of what you were doing. He's got to babysit the AI now, but now he suggests that they should be having real identities. Of course they should have real identities. They're taking the identities of people's running jobs. These are real entities, man. Come on, they're making the company money. They're doing the work. They're doing all this stuff. I mean, you just give them tokens. You don't have to give them like health care or a livable wage or guaranteed job prospects. And you don't have to do any of that. That would be ridiculous. But you gotta treat them well, because if you don't treat them well, it's like your engine, right? You don't treat your engine well. You don't put the oil in there. It'll stop working. You don't fill up with gasoline. That thing won't drive anywhere. As long as you do those basic things, which are pretty cheap, it keeps on chugging along and chugging along. Those humans, though, those pesky humans, they want to eat and raise families and have a life of their own. Ugh, we don't want to deal with that. We just want to make the money. We just want the money, and so that's kind of what they're doing. So where exactly does artificial intelligence fit in? Well, it fits in by taking the jobs. That's why Meta is coming up with that, the new tool. They have an AI deployed on all of their employees' computers now, where basically it's the employees are all training Meta's AI to do their job for them. Isn't that wonderful? And so ultimately, Mustafa, this is one I mentioned earlier, recently indicated that technology could potentially wipe out white-collar jobs in the next 18 months. Learn to be a plumber, folks. Learn to be a plumber. In the recent episode of Possible Podcast, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, Salty Nutella, whatever his name is, indicated that AI agents should be treated like employees as the technology gains broad adoption worldwide and across organizations. That's right. Be treated like employees. If you give them a wrong prompt, they do something crazy. I mean, you get a real human employee, you give them something that's an accidental mistake, they might have the cognition to stop. I was actually working on some stuff, and I was looking at this giant spreadsheet. I saw a point of fact that I'm not sure if that's right. I ended up emailing the person that supplied that point of fact saying, hey, is this right? They confirmed it was right, but it just seemed a little out of place. But I confirmed it. The AI would have just accepted it. If it was actually accidentally wrong, we would have had different problems. And it's all of our white-collar jobs are wiped out. It's because the AI is taking over, which is precisely why we have to treat them as employees. They are our employees. They're taking it over. I mean, come on. News comes as the tech giant seemingly pivoting from Bill Gates' software factory vision and doubling down on security. That's funny. Quality. That's even funnier. And AI transformation as its core business priorities. Recently, they unveiled Project Solera, an OS designed to be invisible, hosting an agent shell that can dynamically load and tailor multiple cloud-based agents. Wonderful. Now, that's what they want to do. Let's go ahead and replace everybody now with these AI agents. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. The transition from human employees to AI agents isn't an easy feat. The executive revealed he uses 100 AI coding agents, but managing to guide them through a chat interface is an uphill task. Of course it's not. You got to use that whisper technology, that AI voice synthesis. You got to just talk to them all. Just push the ones like your keyboard will now turn into something where you just have you hold down the particular perspective key, and then you talk to it, and you're just talking to just that one. I mean, think of how many AI agents you could plug in if your keyboard did nothing but hold a button to talk to a specific AI. You can be managing like 30 or 40 AIs with simple keyboard. I'm going to hold down the one button, say, hey, I need you to work on a project that's XYZ component of an application. Okay, that one's going to take a few minutes to code. Let's go to number 2 and tell it, hey, I want you to work on the database infrastructuring, make sure it's in there, scour the web for any known 0 days, other security vulnerabilities. Great, that thing's now deployed. Hold down your number 3 and you're going to tell this, hey, create a database system with these particular specs. And okay, number 4, we're going to go ahead and sync up to our Salesforce database, sync in all of the data, figure out what exact points you want to use, maybe reconfigure that Salesforce instance. Okay, that's going to take a while to go. Let's hold over AI number 5. I mean, think of how fast it could be if you're just talking these things, holding down keyboards. Then you get a little screen on your maybe a master AI controller on your keyboard there and or on your screen, and you can just see the status of each one. You can see if it's still working, if it's waiting for more input. Oh, AI number 1's waiting for more input. Let's hold down number 1, give it the input it needs. Okay, good. It's running off for another 5 minutes. Let's jump over to AI number 10. Let's do something there. I mean, I'm giving somebody some great ideas here, and I expect a royalty check. Okay, you can jump on over, help me support me at switchedtolinux.com/support if you want to go ahead and give me some money if I just gave you a great idea. Obviously I have bills to pay too, and I deeply appreciate it if I just gave you an amazing idea to make a bunch of money. Just let me know, because I haven't seen anything. It just came right out of the top of my head, but there you have it. But Mustafa there has always viewed Copilot as more than a tool, but a friend and a companion. Only that annoying friend that won't go away. Copilot will certainly have a kind of permanent identity, a presence. It will have room in its lives, and it will age. Hopefully it dies of old age. Actually, hopefully it gets some young disease and dies of a young age. I don't know. We can get real employees back and bring everything back to a better perspective. Anyway, that's what I wanted to mention in this video here. Let me know, of course, your thoughts about all of this. Is this going to happen? Let me know. And again, if you are interested in there in helping support the channel because of the AI influx, help pay the bills, switchedtolinux.com/support. We have Patreon, we have locals, we have Subscribestar, and we got a number of other ways you can help out there as well. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.